Welcome back to the channel. It's Martin Santise here, and in this video I want to give you my brutally honest Dexcom G7 review. And right off the bat, I want to be transparent with you. Dexcom is not paying me to do these videos. I am not affiliated with Dexcom at all, so I don't owe them anything in making this. This is just a review coming from a type 1 diabetic that really believes in tight control over blood sugar levels. And it's my transparency. I'm going to be completely honest with you about it. So you're going to hear the negatives and you're going to hear the positives on this. Now, make sure you watch until the end of the video because you're going to get very good insight over Dexcom and how to use it, how to not use it, and we're going to get into the really good stuff. Now, I am a type 1 diabetic and my A1Cs are 5.8. So I truly care about blood sugar level monitoring. I believe it's very important and I take it very seriously. So this review is going to be brutally honest, right? So before I even get into the negatives and the plus of the Dexcom G7, I want to give you a little bit about my story of where I'm coming from so you get a better idea of my journey with type 1. So I was diagnosed at 22 years old. Now, the biggest problem I had after my type 1 diabetes diagnosis is that I was terrified of low blood sugar levels. I was so scared of them that it completely ruined my entire life, like to the point that I couldn't sleep at night because I felt like I was going to go to sleep and I wasn't going to wake up. I felt terrified of something could happen to me at any moment. I was anxious all the time, and it got so bad that I actually started developing panic attacks. As soon as I would inject my short acting, I'll be like, oh no, I'm going low within 30 seconds, which we all know that can't really happen because insulin takes a little bit to kick in. But again, my mind was playing these cruel tricks on me, and it was just crippling fear. Now, when I started going deeper and trying to figure out how to overcome this fear, I've learned that Dexcom makes CGMs, and at that point the G7 wasn't out; it was the G6. I realized that, oh my gosh, there's a device that can give me my blood sugar level every 5 minutes. Like, I was completely sold. I said, this is gonna fix all my problems. Like, this is what I need. I can't live without this. So I went and I got the application, and somebody called me from Dexcom. I don't know, like it was the insurance approved it, and at that time I was working with a company, so my insurance was pretty good. I had to pay a copay. It wasn't that much money. It was like $30 for like a 90-day supply. Like, it was very affordable. I got it, and guess what? It really did help me. I'll be honest. It really, really did help me because I felt a ton of relief being able to see this information. A ton of relief of seeing what's going on with my blood sugar levels. So it did help in that end, but fast forward a little bit on my journey with type 1, I started getting really good at managing it. Then I started posting what I was doing on my social media, how I was eating, what was my tactics, my insight. And then I decided to become a wellness coach, a type 1 diabetes wellness coach that specifically helps type 1 diabetic master control over their blood sugar levels, get a really good understanding because everything that I was learning and people were asking for help. So I decided to quit my job, and that led me to losing my insurance, and that led me to losing my Dexcom because there was no way I was going to pay for Dexcom out of pocket because it was super, super expensive. So I went on finger pricks, and going on finger pricks really gave me a strong insight over myself. Like, going on finger pricks was it was very helpful for me. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I stopped depending on the technology, and it was just very old school. But I believe that sharpened me so well and helped me become so attuned with my body. But that's a story for another time. So I want to give you some of the insight over the Dexcom G7. Now I'm going to start with the negatives. I'm going to start with 3 negatives, and then I'm going to go with 3 positives. So number 1, the negative thing that I see about the G7, thing I don't like, is that it's not as accurate as they propose it is. It's not as accurate as they say it is. What do I mean by that? Now, if you are aiming for tight control, and you hover around the lower blood sugar level ranges. So I like to be at 90 mgdl, right? So if I'm at 90 mgdl, Dexcom says I'm at 90, but I'm really at 60 because of the inaccuracy. That's a huge problem. Reverse that. If I'm at Dexcom says I'm at 60 mgdl, but I'm really at 90, that's a correction. I need some sugar at that point because it's a problem, right? Now, Dexcom, those errors, Dexcom doesn't say that that's an error. Like it's allowed to make those errors between that small amount. Now, if you hover at the lower ranges, that is a very big issue. Now, let me give you another perspective. Let's say I'm at 100 mgdl. That's where my number's at. But Dexcom says I'm at 140 mgdl. That to me is the difference between a correction. Like I would give myself 1 unit of insulin. So let's say I'm at 140, but I'm really at 100. Something bad can happen to me. So that's one of the biggest negatives that I see about Dexcom. That is not always accurate. And when you're aiming for very tight control, accuracy is super important. Accuracy needs to be on point, right? So that's the first negative, that is not as accurate as they say it is. The second is that they have a ton of sensor issues. There is like, I don't know what's going on with the G7, and I ask this question a lot on my Instagram, on my story, and people always say, yes, I have the same problem. Like the sensors don't really last a full 10 days. They're full of issues. Sometimes on day 5, like it stops working, and then it says, oh, replace, sensor error, replace. So it's super frustrating when that happens, because then you have to, you're pretty much out of a sensor and you have to get a new one. So that's not ideal. It's also sometimes can be very spotty. So it's like it like jumps around a lot, and it can be very annoying when it does that, because the information that you're getting is not as accurate. So sensor errors and spotty, that's the second negative thing that I don't like about the Dexcom G7. Now the third thing, and this one's also very important, is that there's a delay between what finger pricks say compared to what Dexcom says. I found out there's like about a 15 to 10 minute delay. Now, again, those delays are crucial. Those 15 minutes are, those 15 minutes is a big deal, especially when you're aiming to have very tight control. Those 15 minutes can be a game changer. I will tell you a quick story. So there was one time I've experienced a Lantus low. If you don't know what a Lantus low is, I made another video explaining it. It happened to me. They're the worst lows. It's pretty much your Lantus, your long-acting insulin acts as short-acting, and it just completely drops you, like from minutes. It drops you extremely fast. So I was taking a shower at one point. I injected my long-acting. I went to go take a shower. While I was in the shower, I'm like, I don't feel good. I felt like like dizzy and stuff. I'm like, what's going on? I checked my phone. I hopped out the shower. I checked my phone. My Dexcom said I was okay. Like I was fine. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, no, there's something's wrong. So I do a finger prick, and I was in the 30s. Dexcom didn't even pick it up. I felt low. Now, again, huge issue there, right? And I think it's very important. It's not talked about often, but there is a delay between what you actually are to what Dexcom says you are. Now with the G7, the delay did improve. The G6 had a bigger delay, I realized, but over time, hopefully, they can continue to improve to the point that it's real time. But you can't be fully dependent on it. Right, that's what I'm getting at. It's like the technology is not where they say it is, and you can't be fully dependent on it. Now, those are the 3 negatives. I want to get to the positive. I don't want to just bash Dexcom. So the first positive is that it's very helpful to gather information. It's very insightful to gather all this information over your blood sugar levels. When I was doing finger pricks, I was maybe doing 5 to 10 finger pricks a day. But with Dexcom, you're getting blood sugar levels every 5 minutes. You're seeing what's going on at night. You're seeing what's going on exactly after you eat your meal. So the amount of information is amazing. and it's very good to have that information. It's very important because that's how you get better. The more information you have and the more you can read that information, the better you're going to be at actually managing blood sugar levels. Now, the second positive thing about Dexcom is that it helped me specifically overcome my fear of low blood sugar levels. So it helped me overcome a ton of anxiety. It helped me overcome a ton of fear. It helped me be able to go to sleep at night. This is before I went on this Dexcom break, but it relieved a ton of unknown and uncertainty in my life. So I wanna say that that's a very positive thing. You know, if you're living with type 1 diabetes, you know that sometimes that anxiety can be very hard dealing with, and having Dexcom as a helpful tool to help you with that anxiety is very good. It's very useful. So the third positive thing about Dexcom as the company is that they have very good customer support, customer service. Dexcom, the G7, you can, uh, if there's a sensor failure or something goes wrong with your sensor, you can on the app literally just file a claim and then they send you a new one within a few days. I don't like to get on the phone because I'm a little stubborn. I don't like explaining myself and then they have me on hold. So I go on the app, and there's been times that I didn't have the serial number and they actually send me a replacement anyways without it. I think you only have like 3 a year. I'm not too sure, but customer service is really good. They're very helpful with that. There was also an instant where I had back-to-back errors, and I was just like all fed up. Like I filed a claim on the app, and then I didn't get confirmation, and then somebody called me, and I'm like I didn't pick up, and they left me a message. Oh, Cole is back, and I'm like, I'm not calling. Like I was so fed up, but then 2 days later, I had a sensor replacement sent to my door. So that was very appreciative of that. Customer service is really good with Dexcom. So in conclusion, I gave you 3 negatives, I gave you 3 positives, but in my opinion, and I want to be, again, this is my honest, my transparency here. Uh, if you have the ability to hop on a CGM, if you have the ability to use Dexcom, use it. It's a helpful tool. Use it. If you have insurance and you can, I mean, if you're paying out of pocket, I don't think it's worth it. Me personally, I really don't think it's worth paying for it out of pocket. I feel like it's super expensive. But if you have insurance and it's affordable and you have access to it, use it. Use it. It's going to be helpful, even if it's inaccurate. You know, don't. And that leads to my next point: is don't solely rely on it. You can't. No technology that we have in 2024 right now. It's about to be 2025. There's no technology that is flawless. All this technology that we have, there's still some sort of issue. So you can't fully depend on the technology. You can't fully rely on your Dexcom. What if you're out and all of a sudden you have an issue and there's an error? Like, you can't just fully rely on it. Have your finger sticks ready. You know, you never know in what situations. But Dexcom is very helpful. They also have very insightful reports that you can look at. And again, it's just, information is good when you're learning how to manage blood sugar levels. The more information you have, the more you can look back. But just don't completely depend on it. It's a tool at the end of the day. It's not going to be, it's not going to change your life in a way where it's like going to solve all your issues, but it's a very helpful tool. So if you have access to it, use it. It's a tool to help you master yourself. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I have other videos on my channel if you're looking for more of lifestyle vlog. I just made a day in the life as a type 1 diabetic, and I show you how I go through days and manage with good blood sugar level control. I have done it without a CGM and I have done it with a CGM, and there's no excuses, right? We have to do this. We have no other way. We have to get tight control, or else bad things can happen to us. And the more control you have, the better your life is going to be, guaranteed. So with that being said, hope you watch to the end. If you didn't yet, subscribe. Make sure you like this, and I want you to comment below what your thoughts on the Dexcom G7 are. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Have you used it? Are you thinking about it? And also, if you have any other ideas or any other reviews that you want me to make sure you drop those comments below. And I'll see you on the next one.